I don't really think nobody fucking with me anyway, you know what I'm saying? 24 fucking honey, I come from that fucking block. I been out that Johnny up and up that cutter. If we cannot get.
Welcome back, we're back with another reaction video. Today we're reacting to a Justified by Jury video. The rise and demise of Lee Thompson Young. Now, I seen a picture and I know I've seen Buddy's face before. Can I remember what he was in or what he did? No. But that's why we're here. So we can go through the life and the demise of Mr. Young. So let's go.
In this world, some lights shine so bright you're happy to witness their greatness and just know that they'll be around to shine for a long time. But in an instant, the light is snuffed out forever and you're left to make some sense of things. And in chapter 19 of the Unfortunate Demise series, we're going to get into the life and career of actor Lee Thompson Young before diving deep into his sudden passing and the theories that have surfaced as a result. If there are any other actors you'd like to see covered in the Unfortunate Demise series, please leave your suggestions in the comments below.
Was he on Rizzoli Isles?
Born on February 1st, 1984 in Columbia, South Carolina, as the youngest of two, Lee had a knack for putting on a show. As a kid, he would volunteer to read stories to other children at the local library, and he liked to put on little performances as he read his stories. At age 10, he played a young Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in Night of Stars and Dreams at the Phyllis Wheatley Repertory Theater in Greenville, South Carolina. And after seeing the crowd's reaction, he realized that he wanted to act for the rest of his life. And after seeing his love and passion for acting and realizing the endless wave of support that he had received from others, his mother and his sister, who was 12 years older than him and like a second mom to him, both decided to fully invest in his potential. He and his family would go to a regional talent scout event in Hilton Head, South Carolina. And after he won several of the contests in his age group, a New York agent had taken special interest in him and offered to fly him to New York for the summer. He would go and immediately started booking commercials.
Dad?
You know what time it is?
Dad. Ooh, see you at the party, you know, and Vicky, you know, Vicky.
Alien abduction shouldn't keep you out past your curfew. Now, this is gonna hurt you more than it's gonna hurt me.
No, Dad.
All beef patty, special sauce. Sing it with me, son.
Lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on the sesame seeds.
I sing that song with Stone
That's fries, too. Yeah.
Did somebody say McDonald's?
I think my mom has psychic powers.
Don't drink out of that milk carton, young man.
It's like she knows what's gonna happen before it happens.
No video games before your homework.
And when I have a bad cough, she can predict exactly what'll make me feel better.
Robitussin. It's the brand doctors and pharmacists recommend most for coughs.
Now that your cough is better, I predict you'll be going to school tomorrow.
Scary, isn't it?
That's
Robitussin, recommended by doctors, pharmacists, and Dr.
After becoming fruitful in his efforts, he was able to convince his mom to permanently move the family to New York in order to pursue his career. A year later, writer and TV producer for Caswell Hyman was pitching an idea for a teen action comedy drama for the Disney Channel, and after seeing Lee in that Robitussin commercial, he knew instantly that he had his star. Lee would land the lead role in the famous Jet Jackson, a show about a teenage kid who plays a secret agent on a fictional show called Silverstone. But Jet misses his home life, so he succeeds in getting the TV production moved to North Carolina so he can have somewhat of a normal life while simultaneously filming his hit TV show. Disney would later use this same formula in future shows like Hannah Montana and KC Undercover. Filmed in Canada, the show would premiere in October of 1998 and was an instant hit, especially among black youth who looked up to Lee's character being a young black superhero of sorts, but was still an everyday kid who was down to earth and also had a close relationship with his father. The show didn't portray him as a young thug, but as someone of importance, yet still dealt with heavy topics that young teens go through, which was integral for the youth to see. Lee would become one of the first known faces of the Disney Channel, which was still in its early years. This was also the first Disney-produced show with a black lead. Lee would embrace his television debut as if he had been professionally acting his whole life, and was very hands-on with the creative process. He took up martial arts lessons and did his own stunts for the action scenes, and he himself wrote an episode that was featured in the second season. The show's ending theme song was called "It's Not What You Think," by a group called Youngstown, and Lee would lay some bars down for the rap portion. The show featured many notable celebrities like Usher, Britney Spears, and Destiny's Child, who had just been bumped down to 3 members the week before filming. However, as the show was getting more popular with each season, time was winding down on its obligations. Disney Channel had a clause in place that every TV show had a 65 episode limit. So after 65 episodes,
is that why even Steven got hold? Like, bro, Shia LaBeouf was cooking man. Look, also, I never seen Jet Jackson. I'm gonna keep it a stack. I seen Lizzie McGuire. I done seen Hannah Montana. I done seen Evie Steven. It's a lot that I remember from watching Disney Channel. I never remember watching this. I've never seen an episode of this. I don't know. When the hell did this come on? It had to be in the same time frame. Maybe I was in school when it was coming on, and then even Steven was on after I got home. Cause what? I don't remember watching this shit.
the series was completed in June of 2001. But because the show was such a big hit, they would give it an official Jet Jackson movie, which would become the first Disney Channel original film to be based off of a Disney Channel TV show. Years later, That's So Raven would become the first Disney Channel sitcom to break the 65 episode barrier, as they had filmed a total of 100 episodes. They ain't get no movie though. To date, the famous Jet Jackson TV show
I mean, the Cheetah Girls got a movie, so indirectly That's So Raven got a movie because the Cheetah Girls only happened because of That's So Raven. So technically, That's So Raven did get a movie. Like, indirectly.
and its movie aren't available on Disney Plus due to its distribution being owned by Canadian media company Wildbrain. But individual episodes are available for rent or purchase on Amazon Prime. Now, from 1998 well into the mid-2000s, Lee had stayed involved with the Disney network, also appearing in the Disney film Johnny Tsunami as Sam Sterling, the Jersey as himself, and he also voiced Teen BB on that episode of The Proud Family where BB and Cece were magically turned into teenagers.
Yeah, I remember that episode.
During the years that he was filming Jet Jackson though, his art was imitating life, as he had attended NYC's High School for the Performing Arts and had graduated with honors around the same time that the show had ended, and with a National Merit Scholarship to attend the University of Southern California School of Cinema Television. And he would graduate from there with honors and as a member of the historically black Greek organization, Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. And the whole time he was pursuing his undergrad degree, he had appeared in several shows like Philly, The Guardian, Jake 2.0, and Kevin Hill. He also took on serious film roles with movies like Redemption, The Stan Tookie Williams Story, his stellar performance in Friday Night Lights, and his unforgettable role in Akeelah and the Bee. But now, with a Bachelor of Arts degree in film and television production, he was ready to truly conquer the acting world. After starring as a main cast member on UPN's short-lived South Beach, he would appear as Victor Stone, aka Cyborg, in Smallville, a role in which he received much praise and adoration, though I wish we could have gotten to see his character more. He would go on to write his first screenplay for a short film called Mano in 2007, and would train alongside the Army National Guard for his role in the horror sci-fi flick The Hills Have Eyes 2. But after the 07 to 08 writer's strike, his roles were mostly 1 to 3 episode appearances here and there, like on the Terminator series, Lincoln Heights, The Good Guys, and a few memorable appearances on the TV show Scrubs. And him and old girl had intense chemistry on there. Lee had also appeared in the Sugar Babes video for the song About a Girl, although the trio had gone through so many lineup changes that all of Lee's scenes were filmed with stunt doubles, while their label scrambled to find new members before the official release of the song.
That's crazy.
In the midst of his array of appearances, he had done many vlogs online of him and his pals from college, and visited other countries often. In one post, he was enamored to be in the Japanese ward of Shibuya City.
From Chiba, and we just ate some soba. Shibuya roll call.
Throughout it all, he never lost his charm and was well liked and maintained a well-rounded personality. He was also very giving and was involved in many charities.
And also trying to do positive things like what we're here tonight for the RAIN charity fundraising for rape, abuse, and incest victims. You know, anything, that I can do to stay on a good, positive path and do things that I can be proud of. Well, I've been working with a friend of mine who has a charity called Libraries in Africa, and he's raising money to build libraries in Ghana. He's built 7 libraries so far. You can look it up. They have a website, Libraries for Africa. And that's something that I've been getting involved with more and more, and always looking for opportunities, whenever there's something positive going on.
On the spiritual side, Lee had become a practitioner of the Yoruba religion, specifically the Ifa divination, a faith that is based on the traditions of the Yoruba people, and Lee had took great solace in that, and it gave him a sense of calmness. Going into 2010, showrunner Janet Tamero would create a new TV series called Rizzoli Isles, and the execs were said to have been eyeing R&B superstar Genuine to portray Detective Barry Frost. And apparently the likes of Marcus Houston and Jaleel White had been in the running for the role, but after seeing Lee's audition, he would be officially cast as Jane, the main character's partner, Detective Barry Frost, who is very tech-savvy, witty, and full of life. But he is also very new, terrified of dead bodies, and has a fainting spell anytime he sees blood.
Yeah.
The chemistry between Lee and his cast members was undeniable, and he quickly became a fan favorite. His role on the show would also be critically acclaimed. All seemed to be going well for Lee, who was living in LA and doing what he loved to do and getting paid for it. What more could one ask for? Lee was supposed to be all smiles, and by all outward appearances he seemed like he was, but silently he was struggling. Back when he was 19, he had an episode with his mental health, and then again. But his episodes were few far in between, months, even years in between, according to his sister. And because he was a phenomenal actor, his sister does believe that he did a good job at masking it for quite a while. But around the age of 24, things had worsened to the point where he'd see a doctor who would officially diagnose him with bipolar disorder and depression. Now, Lee would regularly see a psychiatrist and take his medication, but was adamant that he didn't want the public knowing about his diagnosis, as this was around 2008 to 2009, back when any signs of mental health struggles, especially for black actors, was seen as a detriment and could easily lead to said actor being blackballed by the industry, which was the last thing he wanted. So his family honored his wishes, though his sister later expressed some regret in not pushing him to at least notify his close friends, so that he could have a support system in LA that could pick up on any signs. His sister at this time was living in Atlanta, and his mother was a professor at Howard University on the Upper East Coast, so Lee was virtually by himself. Still, he would film his hit show and make a few guest appearances, like on the TV show The Event in 2011 and CSI New York in 2012. And whenever his depression would flare up, either his mom or sister would fly to Cali and visit him for a week, go with him to the doctors, perhaps an adjustment in medication, and all would be right again. It's also important to note that he was high functioning, so he didn't let his mental health struggles affect his work. He was militant, always able to turn it off for the cameras, and show up to set at the right place, right time, and in the right attitude. So when he didn't show up for work on Monday, August 19th, 2013, his co-stars and crew members were worried, and calls to his cell phone were not being returned. They would reach out to his landlord to do a wellness check, and that's when Lee was discovered deceased in his apartment. The coroner's report said that he was shot in the right temple while sitting on the couch, and that his manner of death was listed as a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. The investigators said that a weapon was found near his body, but did not say how they determined he took his own life, as there was no note left behind. What was found was lithium capsules and quetiapine tablets, also known as Seroquel, in his apartment and in his system, which was the medication that he was prescribed for his bipolar disorder. Now, it's not known how long he had been taking this particular medication, but one of the adverse effects for Seroquel is increased thoughts of harming oneself. The weapon recovered was legally registered to Lee, and no traces of alcohol or any other substances were found in his system, which leads to the possibility that the medication may have caused an episode where he felt compelled to end it all, though we can't say for sure. Those close to him said that he had never attempted to take his life before, and that he seemed to be okay when the doctor spoke to him on Wednesday, August 14th, but that the last time anyone spoke to him was that Saturday, August 17th. News of his death shocked everyone who simply couldn't wrap their heads around it, but many fans of his weren't so quick to accept that such a bright star would take himself out on a whim. And this wouldn't be a justified by jury episode, if we didn't at least break down some of the theories surrounding his death that still linger amongst the fans. Firstly, we'll address the messages in media. In 2009, Lee would be cast in the ABC sci-fi drama Flash Forward, which ironically was the same title as the very first Disney Channel sitcom, Jet Jackson being the second. But anyway, this Flash Forward, which aired on ABC, revolves around a mysterious event that causes nearly everyone on the planet to simultaneously black out for over 2 minutes. During this time, people see what appears to be visions of their own life 6 months into the future. Everyone's vision is different, and for Lee's character, Agent Al Go, his vision was downright terrifying, to the point where his character jumps off a building to his demise to prevent it from coming true. In speaking on the character, Lee had said, yes, his flash forward was torturing him. The fact that he saw himself in the near future on the phone with a lawyer talking about a case in which he accidentally killed the mother of 2 small children, he just couldn't live with himself. He was trying desperately to figure out if there was any way he could change that. And in the meantime, everything in everyone else's flash forward seemed to be coming true, step by step, so he was unable to sleep at night. He was depressed, frustrated, and angry. He felt powerless, and in the end, he finally decided that this is how he could change that. Looking back at this, following Lee's demise, is of course very unsettling for many of the fans, who felt that the thoughts of Lee's character in the show may have echoed in his mind years later, and that he may have acted thinking the same way. Most actors put on their character's persona for the role. Sometimes those personas stay with them. Then there was a case of his religious practices at the time of his demise, and quite a few blogs followed up on the Yoruba teachings to get a better understanding, and one article in particular, written by Rebecca McAtee for E! News, stated that those close to Lee had noticed things had really changed a few years ago when he began practicing Yoruba, an African-based religion which has a saying that means death is preferable to ignominy, and that some have questioned whether this means that taking your life is an acceptable way to preserve personal or family honor in the face of public shame. She then quoted a Yoruba culture icon and chief priest as saying that the religion does not support ending one's own life, and that if somebody does so, that they will be punished in the hereafter. She also said that Lee reportedly took his religion to the next level and started wearing white all the time, as this religion was everything to him, even though he reportedly took a break from practicing Yoruba, that he had recently returned to the religion, even visiting a small village in Africa for something related to the religion just before his death. Another article mentioned that the coroner's report said the investigators found a makeshift altar in Lee's closet with miscellaneous religious items displayed. All of these articles and their implications angered many people of Yoruba culture, including popular YouTuber Lovely T, who went on a rant about it, along with several other publications that shot down notions that Lee's connection with the Yoruba faith had anything to do with his death. A close friend of Lee's said that the report linking Lee's depression to his faith was a gross mischaracterization, and said that Lee was drawn to his faith because he yearned for enlightenment and may have been too sensitive for this world. Fans would read into this and began to question if Lee had experienced or bear witness to anything traumatizing as a child star on the Disney Channel, but searches of any inkling of this turned up nothing, nor did Lee have any financial hardships or possible love interests that the public were aware of at the time of his passing. Amidst the chatter and confusion, Lee's mother and sister would do an interview where they expressed to the fans that they simply didn't have an answer for the reason behind his death.
After we learned that Lee had been found dead in his apartment due to a self-inflicted gunshot wound, we of course were stunned. I guess, that's the question that everyone would ask, and we really don't know those answers, and there's no way to know.
After checking every facet of his life, friends, family, faith, and finances, the only other angle left was the workplace, as by this time Lee had made his home on Rizzolian Isles and was nearing the end of filming for the show's 4th season. However, his closest friend and partner in crime, actress Angie Harmon, would reveal years later that the set of Rizzolian Isles was absolute hell, and that she herself was in a depression due to the stress of work and home life.
There was all kinds of problems there. My best friend killed himself. There, it was just, and all it was just like, we had like a couple of just really horrible people on that set that were always just like creating problems. So it was like I would go to work and there would just be so many problems and so many horrible things to deal with. And then I would fly home and then there would be so many problems and so many horrible things to do. And it just...
How did you not implode? Did you implode?
Oh, I did. I had zero patience. I was so depressed.
In her interview with Inside of You podcast, she revealed that by the end of season 4, the cast were like battered children hurdled in a corner, and Lee's death would be the straw that broke the camel's back, as just 2 weeks later, the show's creator, Janet Tamero, would step down as showrunner, staying on as a consultant moving forward, but not before production would be halted for 5 months while everyone privately grieved and much needed changes were made. Angie revealed that the show returned in season 5 with screenwriter Jan Nash being brought on, and it was what ultimately saved her. And though Jan had never met Lee, both she and Angie would work together to write 2 loving farewell episodes to Lee's character, Barry Frost, who in the show perishes from a car accident.
Mm-hmm.
She met with Angie and I, and we spoke about it. And, you know, everyone had their ideas of how stuff should be handled, dialogue and so forth. I know Angie worked with her on the eulogy at the end of the next episode. And you know, I think she wrote a really special episode. I think the most important thing that everyone wanted to do was just respect him and just give the love that we felt for him in real life and as a friend and as a colleague, and also just pay that same respect to his family and also to his character on the show that we loved so much.
Death may have taken Barry, but it can't take our memories of him. Those wonderful and perfect and beautiful memories. Those, thank God, are ours to keep.
Ironically, the set which you see on the show was the same lot that was held for Lee's actual funeral, which took place just 4 days after his death, as Paramount Pictures decided to cover the funeral in a private ceremony. Though that time when Angie attempted to speak, she broke down, so it was hard to hear what she was saying. The ephod divination was incorporated into his ceremony. Dancers dressed in all white and performed to the beat of live drum music, and the actor's former karate teacher, who taught him all those moves on Jet Jackson, would enter the room ahead of Lee's mother, blessing the ground in front of her as she walked in. A private wake would also be held at the Inglewood Park Cemetery before his body would be flown to the East Coast, where he was buried at Lakeview Memorial Garden in York, South Carolina. He was buried in the faith section near the mausoleum. His tombstone displayed the actor's symbol, as well as his name in Yoruba. The following month, he would be featured in the memoriam tribute during the Emmy Awards. And his family would go on to start the Lee Thompson Young Foundation, a nonprofit organization concentrating on providing mental health support for intellectually and creatively gifted children and college students. I'll leave a link to their website in the description. Over the years, his mother and sister would do countless interviews talking about the importance of mental health awareness, and have helped countless others in their quest to end negative stigma associated with seeking help for mental health issues. And recently, Lee's sister sat down with Dr. Shonda and expressed her own mental health struggles after Lee's death, as well as the importance of having a community as your support system. Check out their interview as well. It was a nice listen. But rest in peace, man, to the great Lee Thompson Young, for your contribution to TV and to the hearts of so many young people in your 29 years on this earth. You were truly a positive role model and influence to those that came after you. Your death still hurts, but we're going to keep your name alive forever and always.
It makes life sweeter, and it gives us so many ways and so many different lenses through which to give ourselves meaning, you know, and give our world meaning. And without that, I think it would definitely be very grim.
This is Justified by Jury. Y'all know how to hit that like, and y'all know how to hit that subscribe. If you want to, do so. And I'll catch y'all on the next one.
Oh, man. That was sad, bro. I ain't never seen it yet, but I seen multiple shows. I also remember when my mom told me he passed away. I was like, damn, what happened? So it's kind of good to know what happened. I mean, I guess he was just battling with depression. Mental health is probably the most important health, right? Because I believe your mental control your physical, bro. So you ain't got that mental in order, your physical might get out of whack. Rest in peace to a wow, he's like literally like a year older than I am right now. But rest in peace to a soul, a young soul at that. I'm like, damn, 2013 when he died, like nigga, I was about to graduate high school. God damn, brother. There's so many more things he could have seen and done. But I mean, decision's been made, I guess. Damn. Like, damn, bro, a young, talented brother. That's just so sad, bro. It's like, it's kind of leaving me speechless. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, share the video, share your thoughts on the video in the comment section below. Hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date when I drop videos on this channel. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Stay safe, y'all.
Baby, slide by to my mind.